As far as preparation for the mission, a lot of people, I think, I say the most important part as a pre-missionary, as you're preparing for the mission, is, well, maintain your worthiness, obviously. Hopefully, if you're preparing for the mission, that shouldn't be too much of a challenge. I mean, if you're in the process of like paperwork and stuff like that. But maintain your worthiness. Some people worry a lot if they're being sent foreign. So if you're being sent like Spanish speaking, about trying to learn the language. And maybe some people won't agree with me, but I'd say don't worry yourself a lot about learning the language before your mission. You honestly probably won't be able to teach yourself that much unless you're several years before, like unless you're like in high school preparing and you're taking high school classes. But if you're like preparing for your mission and is coming up within the next year, I'd say don't worry much about learning the language. You won't be able to learn yourself that much. And the type of Spanish they teach in schools isn't the same as the kind of Spanish that they speak in the country. So, yeah, sorry, not to beat a dead horse, but don't worry too much about the language. I'd say what you should be worrying more about is just your spiritual state. Memorizing scriptures is somewhat important. Like, I don't know if you necessarily need, I mean, it's very good that you're memorizing scriptures, like the scripture mastery, but I'd say more than memorizing them is just reading them, understanding the concepts more than memorizing specific words, gaining a testimony in them. You should be reading the Book of Mormon as much as possible every day, be in the days before your mission and the year before your mission, well, obviously your whole life. But really focusing on just understanding and reading the Book of Mormon. And as a side, you can be memorizing scriptures and scripture masteries to teach. And I say that's the most important, is really focus on the scriptures and building your personal testimony. And I'd say, like, I mean, you should be studying Preach My Gospel, but a lot of stuff is specific to each mission, so don't worry yourself too much if you don't really think you understand how to be a missionary. Just understand how to be a good member of the church, I guess.